It's story time. Our family vacation to Mexico was supposed to be a memorable adventure, filled with sunshine, sandy beaches, and the rich culture of the Yucatan Peninsula. Little did we know, it would turn into an unforgettable and chilling experience, marked by inexplicable paranormal activities that left us questioning the very fabric of reality. Our destination was the picturesque town of Tulum, where ancient Mayan ruins met the sparkling Caribbean Sea. We settled into a cozy villa near the beach, with its terracotta tiles and vibrant decor promising a relaxing and enjoyable stay. Yet, the moment we arrived, an uneasy feeling washed over me, and I couldn't help but wonder if our vacation would take a different turn. The first night in Tulum was tranquil, with the gentle lullaby of the ocean waves to soothe us to sleep. However, as I lay in bed, I became aware of a peculiar sensation, an eerie presence, as though someone or something watched us from the shadows. I brushed it off as exhaustion from the long journey and eventually drifted into an uneasy slumber. The following day, we explored the Mayan ruins, captivated by the ancient civilization's mystique and grandeur. The clear blue sky stretched above us, and a warm breeze rustled the palm trees, instilling a sense of serenity that momentarily banished the unease from the previous night. It was during our return to the villa that our first paranormal encounter occurred. My daughter, Lily, insisted she saw a shadowy figure darting between the trees. Her eyes were wide with fear, and she clung to me for protection. I assured her it was just her imagination, but I couldn't shake the sense that something was amiss. That night, our family sat down for dinner, attempting to return to our usual vacation cheerfulness. But the unease persisted. Just as we were about to dig into our meal, the lights flickered and dimmed. A chill swept through the room, as if an icy hand had brushed against our shoulders. I glanced at my wife, Emma, and we exchanged uneasy glances. We assumed it was an electrical issue and decided to call the property manager the next morning. The third day of our vacation brought an excursion to a secluded cenote, a natural sinkhole that promised a refreshing and magical experience. The lush surroundings and crystal clear water offered a welcome reprieve from the disquieting events of the previous days. As we swam and explored the underground cave system, it felt as though we had left the haunting presence behind. The sun's rays filtered through the cenote's opening, casting a mesmerizing display of light and shadow upon the water. For a moment, we forgot the unease that had plagued us. That evening, however, our sense of peace was shattered. As we prepared for bed, I entered the bathroom to brush my teeth. The room grew eerily cold, and my reflection in the mirror seemed distorted, as if another figure stood behind me. A sense of dread washed over me, and I quickly left the room, leaving the tap water running as I fled. I shared my unsettling experience with Emma, and she revealed that she too had felt a presence in the bathroom earlier. The two encounters left us with an unsettling realization. Something was in our villa, something we couldn't explain or rationalize. The next morning, we finally called the property manager about the electrical issues. He assured us that the villa's electrical system was thoroughly inspected and there were no issues. He suggested that our experiences might be due to the ancient energies of the area, a notion deeply ingrained in Mayan culture. We were skeptical, but willing to accept any explanation that would bring us relief. On the fifth day of our vacation, as we visited the local markets, I couldn't escape the feeling of being watched. Every corner we turned, every vendor we spoke to, I sensed an unseen presence lingering in the shadows. Emma and Lily, too, reported similar sensations. We found it increasingly difficult to focus on the vibrant colors and captivating culture of Tulum. That night, as we retired to our bedrooms, the atmosphere grew oppressive. A strange hum resonated through the walls, growing louder and more unsettling by the minute. The lights flickered, and a dark figure slowly emerged from the closet. It was a shadowy silhouette, resembling a Mayan warrior. It moved with an otherworldly grace, its eyes glowing an ominous blue. We were paralyzed with fear, unable to react. The figure drifted closer, and my heart raced as I felt a cold, ghostly hand brush against my cheek. We tried to scream, but our voices were silenced. As quickly as it had appeared, the figure dissipated, leaving us in a state of profound dread. We decided to leave the villa the following day, our vacation cut short by the unexplained paranormal occurrences. It was a choice born of fear, and we couldn't bear to stay another night in that haunted place. As we left, the property manager apologized for the discomfort we had endured, assuring us that other guests had experienced similar phenomena. Back home, we couldn't shake the memories of our vacation in Tulum. We often wondered what forces had converged to create the supernatural presence that had haunted us. It was an experience that defied explanation, leaving us with a newfound respect for the mysteries that lie beyond the veil of our. I had just got out from a difficult divorce, and a solo vacation to Cancun seemed like the perfect escape from the turmoil of my life. The sparkling waters of the Caribbean and the promise of sun-soaked days had beckoned me. Upon my arrival, I was welcomed by the turquoise sea and golden sands, which provided a comforting backdrop for my newfound freedom. The rented condo, nestled away from the bustling tourist hubs, was meant to be my sanctuary, a place where I could heal and rediscover myself. The condo had a quaint charm, with its open living area and a balcony that offered a panoramic view of the ocean. At first glance, it seemed like the ideal place for a tranquil retreat. On my first night in Cancun, I settled into the condo. As I watched the sunset from the balcony, a gentle sea breeze brushed against my skin, offering a sense of calm. However, it was during the twilight hours that I experienced my first encounter with the inexplicable. The haunting began with faint, indistinct whispers that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. I dismissed them as the product of a weary mind, a consequence of the emotional turmoil that had weighed me down for so long. I sought solace in sleep, but the dreams that greeted me were anything but peaceful. Distorted faces, voices from an ancient past, and a sense of suffocating despair filled my nights. In the following days, the whispers grew louder, and they were no longer confined to the late hours. They followed me, whether I was in the bedroom, the kitchen, or the balcony. They felt like secrets whispered from the very walls that held the condo together. One evening, as I stood on the balcony, savoring the vivid hues of the sunset, I noticed something strange. The whispers seemed to form into vague, shadowy figures. They flickered in and out of existence, like elusive apparitions. My heart pounded, and a chill crawled down my spine as I struggled to understand what I was witnessing. The unsettling events didn't stop at whispers and phantasmal figures. As the days passed, I began to hear echoing laughter, as though a group of people were reveling just beyond the condo's walls. At times, I felt as though a crowd of unseen revelers were inhabiting the very air around me. These uninvited specters seemed to be mocking my solitude, a reminder of the life I had left behind. One night, while I lay in bed trying to ignore the tormenting whispers, I felt a presence in the room. I strained my eyes in the dim light, and my breath caught as I saw the outline of a woman standing at the foot of my bed. She was translucent, her eyes hollow voids, and her expression was one of profound sadness. Her spectral presence sent shivers down my spine, and I instinctively pulled the covers over my head, desperately hoping she would disappear. Despite the growing dread, I was determined not to let these paranormal occurrences disrupt my vacation. I ventured out to explore the vibrant city and the beautiful beaches, seeking to lose myself in the culture and vibrancy of Cancun. During a visit to the Mayan ruins, I was surrounded by echoing voices that whispered the secrets of an ancient civilization. It was as if the spirits of the Mayans had awakened to share their history with me. I couldn't escape the sense that I was intruding upon their sacred grounds, and the chilling revelations sent me fleeing back to my condo. As the days turned into weeks, I became increasingly isolated and distressed. The voices and apparitions were ceaseless, and they seemed to be growing in intensity. The specters that haunted me began to take on the appearance of people I had known in my past, friends, family, and even my ex-husband. The apparitions seemed to bear the weight of my memories, and they confronted me with unresolved emotions. One evening, as I gazed at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, the face that stared back at me changed. My features distorted into those of a stranger, and I realized I was looking at the image of the condo's previous tenant. I screamed, and the distorted reflection returned to my own face. I was left shaken, questioning the nature of the haunting that surrounded me. As my vacation came to an end, the activity in the condo reached its climax. The apparitions and voices became relentless, a cacophony of the past. It was then that I stumbled upon a box hidden away in a closet, a box filled with photographs and letters, mementos of the condo's previous occupants. It was as though I had uncovered a portal to the past, a key to the restless spirits that haunted the space. In a final, desperate bid to escape the torment, I reached out to a local shaman who was said to have knowledge of the paranormal. He conducted a cleansing ritual, burning sage and reciting ancient chants. It was during the ritual that I witnessed the phantoms that had tormented me fading into the shadows, their faces marked by a mixture of sorrow and release. I watched the ocean from the balcony one last time. The oppressive presence that had haunted me had finally dissipated, and a sense of peace washed over me. I couldn't explain the nature of the haunting, or why it had chosen to reveal itself to me, but I had emerged from the ordeal with a newfound appreciation for the mysteries of the world and the resilience of the human spirit. Leaving the condo behind, I felt as though I was leaving a part of myself behind as well. As a water park worker, I've witnessed countless families enjoying the splashes and screams of delight that this aquatic wonderland brings. It was a typical summer day at the water park, with the sun blazing down and the echoes of laughter filling the air. The water slides glistened with joyous anticipation, as children and adults alike eagerly awaited their turn. The atmosphere was infectious, and for a moment, all seemed right with the world. I was stationed at the entrance to the lazy river, an attraction beloved by both young and old. It was there that I first saw the family, a mother, a father, and their son, a bright-eyed boy of around 8 years. He was brimming with energy, his excitement palpable as he eagerly bounded towards the water's edge. As the family settled into a nearby cabana, I couldn't help but notice the sheer joy emanating from the young boy. His laughter was like a ray of sunshine, infusing life into the water park. He wore a bright yellow swimsuit and a wide-brimmed hat, his cherubic face beaming with delight. For hours, I watched the family bond, enjoying the aquatic playground. The parents' laughter and the boys' infectious joy created a perfect picture of happiness. The day was filled with water slides, ice cream treats, and endless games of catch in the pool. The boy's energy knew no bounds, and it seemed he was everywhere at once, a whirlwind of pure happiness. As the day drew to a close, I couldn't help but smile, witnessing the love and connection within this family. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow over the park as it prepared to bid farewell to another day. And then, the unthinkable happened. It was twilight, and the family had decided to enjoy the final moments of their visit in the lazy river. As the boy waded into the serene waters, an errant wave caught him off balance, and he slipped beneath the surface. Panic rippled through the pool area, and I watched in shock as the boy's parents desperately searched for him. Within moments, the water park staff leaped into action, initiating a full-scale search and rescue effort. The boy was located unconscious and quickly pulled from the water. CPR was administered, but the paramedics' arrival was shrouded in a sense of grim inevitability. The sun had set by the time the boy was rushed to the nearby hospital. Despite the heroic efforts of everyone involved, it was too late. The boy had slipped away, leaving the world a little dimmer. In the days that followed, the water park was a place of somber reflection. The laughter and jubilation of past visits were replaced by an eerie silence. It was as if the heart of the park had been stolen, and in its place, a haunting emptiness prevailed. But there was one aspect of the tragedy that defied all logic and reason. The boy's spirit refused to leave the water park. In the days following the accident, I began to notice the boy's presence. It was subtle at first, as though he were trying to reconnect with the joy he had once known. I saw fleeting glimpses of a little boy, drenched in water, his bright yellow swimsuit standing out like a beacon in the twilight. At first, I was hesitant to share my experiences with anyone, fearing they would dismiss my encounters as the result of grief and trauma. But as the days turned into weeks, I couldn't deny the reality of the situation. The boy's spirit is definitely lingering in the water park. The boy's ghost was unmistakable, and it was a haunting yet strangely comforting presence. He would play by the water's edge, his laughter and joy filling the air, just as they had during his final visit to the park. His presence was mostly at the lazy river, the same place where he had drowned. It's crazy to think that things like this really exist. I wasn't alone in my encounters with the boy's spirit. Other staff members had their own experiences too. It seemed he was drawn to those who had been present during his last moments, as if seeking a connection to the world he had left behind. He appeared exactly as he had during his final day, his yellow swimsuit and wide-brimmed hat as distinct as ever. His laughter echoed through the still night, a reminder of the joy that once filled these waters. At first, his presence brought a strange mix of emotions: grief, loss, but also a sense of comfort. It was as though the boy's spirit was a bridge between the worlds of the living and the departed, a reminder that even in the face of tragedy, life's joyful moments could endure. As time went on, more and more visitors started to see the ghostly figure of this boy, which scared them to the point where they wouldn't come back to visit. The park's online reviews started to drop to where the park had to be closed due to lack of visitors and funds. After the park was closed and abandoned, there has been rumors that whoever trespass into the park still sees this little boy sitting by the lazy river.